Hey everybody, this is Andy Hall. You're watching Best Advice Ever, the show where awesome people come on and talk about the best advice they ever got. Today, our guest is Harley Neville. Harley Neville is a podcaster. He is an actor, a poet. How you doing, Harley?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
So how many other things do you do besides, because I know when you're in the business, you do like a gazillion things, probably
Yeah.
produce. So let's talk about what do you do?
Well, yeah. So I just call myself a filmmaker, really, because I do a bit of everything, really, and it all kind of bleeds into one, and it's all creative stuff. So to pay the bills, and by day I work in live broadcast television, and so I'm doing sort of different things on the air, graphics and sound and directing and that type of thing, and that's really just to pay the bills. But then sort of the stuff that I'm really doing, that I've been aiming for my whole kind of career, is producing films and other kind of creative content online. So I do a bit of producing, acting, podcasting, poetry on stage, and make videos for that type of thing, put it on the internet, and yeah, a bit of everything. I think I said podcasting.
Right. You're on the Guy and Harley podcast. That's
the one.
That's the one, right? And I was looking at
it's about love, life, and loss, and the pursuit of filmmaking glory.
Right. You've been in a couple of different, pretty major projects. You were on I Survived a Zombie Holocaust. You guys did that from the ground up.
Yeah, that was a film. That was our first feature film that I made with my best friend. So basically, my friend and I have been making movies for 20 years now. We made our first film when we were 16. We've been making movies for 20 years now. We were high school friends, besties, and we've been flatmates for the majority of our sort of adult lives. Not currently, but oftentimes flatmates as well. So we've been sort of living together, best friends, making movies for 20 years. And that was our first feature film, I Survived a Zombie Holocaust. And anybody listening out there can find it on iTunes and all the other sort of usual places. The only place you won't find it, unfortunately, is Netflix. So just don't go there. But yeah, everywhere else you can go and find that, I Survived a Zombie Holocaust. And so I played the lead role in that, and Guy, my co-creator, he wrote and directed it. And yeah, that was our first feature film, and it's out there now.
Sure, that's great. And I saw a trailer for Older too.
Yeah, so that's just about to come out, and I just came back from the American film market over in LA trying to sell that. So what we've done is we've received offers from sales agents now on our second feature film, and now we're going to figure out who to sign with, and we're doing sort of the legal stuff and all that at the moment. And then once that's all done, hopefully we'll be able to get it out. Hopefully this year, I hope.
That's really exciting. Really exciting.
It's finished more or less, and it's just the selling process now that we're working on. So that's a drama romance, that one. And if anyone's interested, if you go search Older trailer, and probably the keyword you want to put in is Pigville, which is the name we make movies under, Pigville. So Older trailer Pigville, I think you'll find it. And it's a feature film, drama romance.
I follow you on Instagram, and I saw the meme of yours that now, and I hear you're really big in Russia right now. That you have shaved half of your body.
Yeah. So that's a meme. So if anybody, I don't know if this is an audio only podcast or if it's a video as well. See it. Yeah. Well, so jump on. If you have a look, you can see in the video there that I've got quite hairy shoulders. The evidence for evolution is quite conclusive, and so. Yeah, I shaved this. I shaved half of my body once and half of my beard, and put a photo of it on the internet, and it went viral, and it went sort of all around the world and on heaps of different feeds, and it got on the Ellen show, the actual Ellen show. Ellen said that she's the reason why why she doesn't have a husband. Ellen says that I'm the reason why she doesn't have a husband, which is essentially like she's saying that I turned Ellen gay. I'm responsible for that. If you think about it, me and my gross man behavior, and so yeah, they shaved half of my body, and now that's out there now. So you can go find that if you search like half hairy photo, you'll probably find it. Half hairy Harley Neville, something like that.
That's fantastic.
That was just for fun, that was just something silly to do. I didn't know it was going to be so viral. One mistake I made was in the first version of it, I didn't watermark the image. I just put it up on the internet. I was like, whatever, this is funny. But I really should have watermarked it because millions of people saw it and there's no connection back to me. Fortunately, it did find its way back to me, other ways.
Right. It's funny how the internet works with living a creative life.
Mm.
It's the certain projects or the certain thing that you do typically that goes viral. Then you look around and you go, this is the thing.
This is the thing. Yeah. Well, especially like we spent 5 years making I Survived a Zombie Holocaust, and it was a big achievement for us. It was a huge, stepping stone in our careers and all that type of thing. It was a big deal, and yet this one picture I took in an afternoon of me with a hairy body, half hairy body, has been seen by millions and millions more people than I Survived a Zombie Holocaust.
That's hilarious. And it just tells you about the nature of things.
Yeah. Well, you got to give people what they want, right? And what's hot at the moment is hairy shoulders. That's what's hot at the moment. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent.
If anyone needs a hairy actor, by the way, this is something that not all actors can provide. Imagine if you want to add this hairiness onto a character, you've got to. That's a big makeup job. That's a big makeup. That's a prosthetics job, right? I come natural with it, and if you want to get rid of it, I'll just shave it off.
Just like that, and it'll come off.
Yeah.
No CGI, no special makeup. This is just who you are. Let's talk about the best advice you ever got.
Yeah, cool. Well, the first thing that came to me actually when you asked me about that was I thought of a romantic piece of advice for people's love lives out there. Right, completely unrelated to anything to do with this creativity,
right.
I'll tell you something that my granddad told me. He said that love's not about sex; it's about experiences shared. So if you love someone and you want them to love you back, be sure to take them on a little adventure every day.
Oh, well, that's interesting, huh?
And I thought, speak on it, Granddad. That's true. And I reckon it's like the more things you do together, that's how you form those bonds. That's why, any bond is formed is through those experiences. That's why soldiers, in war come back with always talking about the brotherhood they feel and all that type of thing. It's because they're experiencing all of this intense and crazy shit together. I reckon that's true. You do kind of fall in love, through bonding through these experiences. And my experience of it was like I used to work on, this is not quite the same as going to war, but I used to work on a cruise ship, and I was filming and editing events and parties and tours, and every day I was waking up in a new country. And they have a saying on cruise ships about relationships on board. They say a day is a week is a month, and a month is a year.
Wow.
And it really felt that way because of all the adventures you were going on, and waking up in a new country together every day, and all the things you were seeing, and there's a lot of these crazy things happen on these cruises. So I reckon it's true. Speak on it, Granddad.
Tell me about your granddad. What's his life like? What was his life like?
Well, he's still kicking. He was a high-ranking. He was an air vice marshal in the Air Force, in the New Zealand Air Force. So he was a military man, is a military man, I guess. And he told me that when he told me that, I tell you, he was actually talking about my dog. Yeah, he was like, we were talking about how I loved that dog. And he said, yeah, you loved that dog. You really loved him. And he said, and love isn't about sex. It's about all the experiences you share, and you went on a lot of adventures with this dog. And I was like, yeah, that's right. So that's kind of the less romantic beginning of that story, wasn't?
Well, that's funny. A lot of really the nuts and bolts about relationship and love has very little to do about Lifetime original TV movies or about large romantic comedies that you'll see on the big screen.
Mm.
It's about those little moments that you cobble together day after day, and like you said, going on these adventures. Now, how have you been able to utilize that?
Well, I think I actually took my last girlfriend on a lot of adventures, but I'm still single now, so I guess it didn't work.
Or that you're very smart. It all depends on how you look at things.
Yeah. Well, I did have another one here was like like regarding kind of like your career and that type of thing. If you don't know what to do something, because you're better to get started and then sort of course correct as necessary than you are to kind of stand there just paralyzed and achieving nothing. So, yeah.
I think that's really good advice, especially for people who are creative, because we can typically start doing one thing.
Yeah.
And like we were just talking about, the stuff that goes viral, all of a sudden we discover the audience really likes something that we're doing that we didn't expect. And it's like, you wouldn't have gotten there unless you were doing something, unless you were pushing forward.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the same when you're lost in the bush. Actually, you got to keep moving. So it's good career advice and a survival guide.
So what do you got going on in the future in terms of projects? You got anything on the horizon?
So the next thing, we've got two things. So this film Older is about to come out, hopefully this year, right? You go olderfilm.com to hear more about that, actually, olderfilm.com. That's coming out. We've got Immy the Vegan, which is a web series that we've shot, and it's about a vegan. It's written by a vegan, and it's sort of, self-deprecating kind of humor, from a vegan perspective. And it's really funny. I think I personally, I'm not vegan, but I'm an ally of the ideology, and I do think it's really funny. I think it's really good. And so yeah, it's kind of this quirky musical comedy web series about a vegan living in Auckland and trying to find love and chasing dealing with vegan problems and all that type of thing. So Immy the Vegan. So I'm excited about that because we've just finished that and we're entering into post-production with it now. So it's we've finished the edit. Now it's going into the final finishing phases. So like sound mixing, color grading, that type of thing. Those final touches. Yeah.
And where are you going to be putting that out on? You putting it on YouTube, or you going to a streaming service?
So the first thing we'll try and do is try and sell it, because there's a few places around here that we can try and sell it to that do buy web content like that. So we show up and we email the right people and basically just say like, hey, can you take a look at this one? And I think we have a reasonable chance of maybe them parting with some cash to buy it. I think the great thing about something about like vegans, for example, is that it's a niche audience, and that's what you really want on YouTube. You want those, or online, you want this niche audience, because then you can know exactly what ads are going to go on it, and then those ads can bid against each other, those different companies. So if it's a DIY channel and that's your niche, you've got like building places bidding against each other to get their ad on your thing. Whereas if your content's really broad, no particular advertiser wants it. And so the great thing about veganism is that is an audience which is ideologically driven and and motivated and interested in all that type of thing. And there's lots of companies that are competing to get that emerging dollar. So I do think that that's actually quite a good reason that they might go to buy it. They might actually pay us for it. And if they don't, then we'll bang it up on YouTube and put it on our YouTube channel, which is called Pigville and the number 2 on YouTube. Pigville and the number 2.
I think that's really smart. I was talking to a buddy of mine who's a local filmmaker, and he would have these discussions with other filmmakers, and he'd say, look, before you start shooting something, before you start creating something, you have to think about marketing if you're looking to make money off of it. And he told me, we were having lunch the other day, he told me he got like nothing but crap from people, because they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear, they want to focus on the art.
The art, yeah.
The art, right.
Yeah, sometimes you got to figure out how to walk the line. That's the great thing about this vegan thing, is that we didn't do that for that reason. We didn't think about it beforehand. It was the other way around. It was pitched to us from Immy, who plays the lead role in Immy the Vegan. She pitched it to us and came to us with this idea, and it was just kind of perfect for us, because we were like, well, it's funny, it's cool, we want to make it, and it's totally marketable.
Oh, right, dude. Yeah. I think that's brilliant, to tell you the truth. Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I'm looking to see it wherever it is.
It'll be this year. So it is getting close, and we're hoping to kind of smash it out reasonably soon, because one of the big problems we have is everything takes forever in post-production.
Sure, it does.
Yeah.
Now,
I did have regarding that, I did have another little bit of advice that I've jotted down here, was that motivation regarding your career and that type of thing, is that motivation is a magic power, and nobody's going to chase your dreams for you. And no matter what you're into, it's going to be more work than you think it is, a lot more work than you think it is. And so I sort of thought, like, for young people, I was sort of trying to think of myself, just a little while ago, but when I was a little younger, what I, was doing wrong and that type of thing. And I sort of thought that, young people have this youthful energy and motivation, and drive that's not always necessarily going to be there, particularly as kind of real life starts getting in the way and you get a mortgage, or you got kids, or you got jobs to worry about, all that type of thing. That stuff starts getting in the way. And so I sort of think if there's any young people out there, to appreciate that motivation isn't necessarily always going to be there, and that drive to go and get things done isn't necessarily always going to be there. And you might wake up one day and kind of realize that you don't give a shit enough anymore to sort of sweat and bleed for it like you used to. So you should make hay while the sun shines. And if I had the professionalism and the experience that I have now in my 30s back when I was in my 20s, then I think I would be much further along in my career. So really jump on it. If you can be fucked staying up all night and working on your script and all that type of thing, understand that won't necessarily always be, you won't always necessarily be able to do that. So, enjoy it now and capitalize on it now. That's what I'm saying.
Your 20s is really a superpower in a lot of ways, right? Just from 20 to 30. 18 to 30, whatever. That is like a superpower. And you're right. It's like a window of opportunity, and that window will not always be open.
Yeah.
Because
exactly.
And I'll tell definitely younger people, it's like this is the time if you're this is the best time for you to make a push on something. So if you're gonna do something crazy creative, or if you're gonna do something that that takes a lot of energy, a lot of effort, this is when you should be doing it. And things do take longer than you expect, right? Being in film, you've seen it firsthand.
Absolutely. So I Survived a Zombie Holocaust. We got the funding for it in 2010, and the film came out in 2015. Our second film, and this is a bit of a secret, so don't tell anybody, just all the listeners. Is that the second film has actually taken us 7 years now. It's taken us 7 years, which is obviously really incredibly slow. But the issue is that we're doing everything to the highest possible standard, but we're doing it for nothing. But it was never meant to take that long. It was meant to be 1 year. The problem is, like, other jobs get in the way, and we're doing other kind of productive things as well. And, other things come up. We've shot heaps of other things. And so this thing's just sort of sitting there in the background, ticking over really slowly. But we actually shot it in 2013. And it's like, man, gosh, that's quite a while. Everything just takes longer than you think. We never expected any of these to take that long.
Sure. And that's the rule more than the exception.
Yeah. That's getting pretty ridiculous, though. 7 years. We can't be doing a film every decade. Jesus.
This is true.
Yeah. Luckily, we overlapped. What we did was we shot our second feature film before our first feature film was out. 2 years before our first feature film came out, but 3 years after we initially shot it, we shot our second feature film. So by the time our first feature film came out in 2015, and so it looks like it's only taken us 5 years. We're releasing it in 2020. So it looks like we got funding in 2010, film came out 2015, did our second one in 2015, came out in 2020. That's what it looks like, but actually it's 7 years for the second one.
Right.
Because we overlapped.
Sure. Well, that's clever, right? You're hitting while the iron is hot. So you just came off one movie, you just started shooting another movie, and so your creative juices are already maybe because a lot of these projects, they have their own inertia. It's still a decade, but
two movies per decade. We need to get a wiggle on.
Right. Well, like I said, it's just between you, me, and the viewers. So no one else has to know.
You, me, and 1,000 of your closest friends.
Yeah, exactly. So, dude, this has been a great conversation. Learned a lot about you, something about the film industry. And about the creative process, and of course some great advice about having these moments and having these experiences and fun with your partner every single day, and doing something different. I think your grandfather's a wise man. That's what I think.
Yeah.
So where can people find you online, brother?
So if people want to look me up, so youtube.com/Pigville and the number 2 is our YouTube channel. Now it's a little bit, we haven't uploaded very much there for a little while, but we do do our podcast. We live stream it directly onto YouTube. So you can go there. Oh, sorry, that's how we've got a separate channel for that, which is, so anyway, that's our main channel, Pigville 2. And then if you're interested in our podcast, it's called the Guy and Harley podcast. And basically it's my best friend and I, he's the co-creator of I Survived a Zombie Holocaust and Older. He's a writer, director, and a wrestler, like a WWE type wrestler, but in New Zealand he wrestles for the IPW, they're called. So he's a writer, director, wrestler, and I'm a producer, actor, poet, and we are both best friends who have known each other since we were 13 and been making films for 20 years. And so we have a good natural rapport, and we talk about all sorts of stuff to do with sort of the film biz, but it's also about life as a whole as well. So the Guy and Harley podcast, it's on Spotify, iTunes, it's on YouTube, Twitch, and it's on Libsyn. So if you'd like to sort of tune into that, that'd be great. We'd love to welcome you into the fold as a new listener.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, Harley Neville, thanks for coming on Best Advice Ever. This has been a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me.